like to speak in morning business about the National Flood Insurance Program and talk about the importance of extending the National Flood Insurance Program as a tropical storm that could be a hurricane is growing in the Gulf of Mexico and moving toward my home state of Texas. We all know that the Gulf of Mexico has had a lot of trauma, and the people who live all along that Gulf have suffered quite enough. Now we have a situation in which Tropical Storm Alex is gaining strength off the coast of South Texas. Winds are gusting upwards of 70 miles per hour, and it could reach hurricane strength at any point. Texas communities from Padre Island to Matagorda Bay are under a hurricane warning. The National Weather Service is calling for up to 20 inches of rain in some parts of our state and is warning communities to brace for life-threatening flash floods and mudslides. However, Mr. President, at this very time, thousands of Texas homeowners are left vulnerable to the damage this storm could reap on their homes and property. Why? The National Flood Insurance Program lapsed at the end of May, which means that homeowners are currently unable to take out new policies. Allowing the lapse in federally backed flood insurance is unacceptable at any time, but the failure to extend it at the outset of hurricane season is unthinkable, Mr. President. The very purpose of the National Flood Insurance Program is to make sure that coastal residents and other flood-prone communities can purchase reliable, federally backed flood insurance. The program allows homeowners to purchase flood insurance policies in areas where private insurance is hard and in some cases impossible to get. Since residents in some areas are required to have it in order to close on home purchases, many Gulf Coast families can't close on mortgage contracts. My Houston office received 200 calls yesterday from people who were in the process of closing on homes, which required flood insurance protection to be shown before they could close, and they can't get the flood insurance because it's not available in the private sector, and this program has lapsed. Today, it's the federal government that is standing in the way of these people being able to close on a contract. Because of previous devastating storms, including Hurricanes Katrina and Rita, the National Flood Insurance Program has incurred billions of dollars in claims and is in an economically tenuous position. I've supported legislation to revise and update this program. It needs to meet the demands of today while still providing access to flood insurance coverage to Americans living in floodplains. Americans who are trying to do the responsible thing, they are trying to purchase insurance. It's not available on the private market, and we need to have that kind of opportunity for people to be able to purchase their own insurance, for them to be able to close on homes, of course, and to be able to protect themselves from damages. These are people who don't want to have to file claims against the federal government. They want to be able to purchase their own insurance and know that they have it. In 2008, I, along with an overwhelming majority of my colleagues in the Senate, supported the Flood Insurance Reform and Modernization Act of 2007. Unfortunately, we had big support in the Senate and in the House, but our two chambers failed to resolve our differences. Therefore, it has operated in limbo ever since, surviving only in short-term extensions. Now there is a bill to extend the National Flood Insurance Program through September 30. It has been approved in the House and was sent to the Senate. It is being currently held up. My colleague from Louisiana, Senator Vitter, offered a unanimous consent request this morning to bring this House bill up, pass it in the Senate, and send it to the President. It would have extended the flood insurance program until September 30 so that people could buy insurance, know they would be covered, be able to close on their homes, and be able to get this coverage while we continue to hammer out the differences in a long-term extension of the program. Unfortunately, there was an objection raised to the House bill going through the Senate. And Mr. President, it is so important that we do this. Now, it was said, I asked the reason. I asked one of my colleagues on the other side, why was this objected to? Well, the answer back was, well, is it more important than the extension, the tax extender bill? Well, I can't say that it's more important because we do need to extend unemployment insurance, but Mr. President, they are not mutually exclusive. We can do one or the other. We can do both. And Mr. President, this is one where there is no objection to the substance of the bill. No one on the other side of the aisle really objects to the bill. They just want to pass the extender package. Well, we want to pass the extender package too. We want it to be paid for. Mr. President, we can do this. We can do this. It is so important and so timely. The President understands that we can do this. It is timely because people are not able to close on contracts. Mortgage companies are saying, our hands are tied. You have to show that you have this flood insurance to close, and there is no flood insurance available on the private market, and the National Flood Insurance Program has not been extended. But Mr. President, this is one that Congress can resolve. We're going to be here for a few more days this week. We can do this. I implore my colleagues, please let us unanimously consent to this bill going through. The House has passed it unanimously. A hurricane is headed right now for the Gulf of Mexico. It is time to allow our responsible citizens who want to purchase health insurance, who want to purchase flood insurance, to be able to do so in a responsible way. We certainly need to modernize the National Flood Insurance Program, and I will work tirelessly to make that happen. But with storms approaching right now, we need to extend this program until the end of hurricane season. We do not want people to have to flood into the government after the fact when they are desperate, not knowing if they're going to get coverage. We don't want them to have to come to the federal government and ask for claims to be processed. Let them cover themselves so they can deal with the issue knowing exactly what their coverage is. That is not too much to ask for the residents of the Gulf Coast. So I hope that the majority leader and the majority will work with us to begin to address this issue in a timely way. The House has passed this bill unanimously. I urge my colleagues in the next 2 days to please allow the National Flood Insurance Program to be extended until September 30, a bill that has unanimously passed the House and surely should be able to go through the Senate since there is no substantive objection to this bill. Thank you, Mr. President, and I yield the floor.